Oke, welcome back. Kita lanjut lagi. Final fantasi ya. Welcome back, Sik. Kita mau ngomong sama Otto. Oke, ada apa nih? Ngumpul-ngumpul.
Clive, you're back.
You're live.
I am. And with glad tidings for once. Hugo Kupka is no more.
Hugo
Well,
si Titan udah mati ya?
All of our comrades who lost their lives back at Sid's place be smiling down at you right now.
We had a stolus from Lubor saying Drake's fang had fallen. I expect that was your doing as well, was it?
It's a long story.
It's a long story.
History books, I'll bet.
Welcome home, Clive.
It's good to be back. You look better.
I feel it.
Oke.
Which means I'm coming on your next little adventure. You're not leaving me behind again.
Wouldn't dream of it. Otto, any word on the Royalist movement since I've been away? Shouldn't you be putting your feet up? If you really want to know, go and have a word with Vivian.
Oke, kita disuruh nanya ke Vivian ya.
I will.
Tentang Royalist.
The conquering hero returns.
Oke.
With hardly a scratch on him.
I may have picked up one or two.
Well, the fact that you came straight to me instead of visiting our resident physiker suggests that you picked up something more important. A scent. The scent of Waludas.
The very same. But whatever plans Kupka was hatching with the Royalists, he took them to his grave. As did his men. Slaughtered by the orcs who'd taken over the Fang. Orcs, Vivian. I've never seen such creatures in Storm before. The Waludas must have ferried them over from Ash, but why? Why work to rescue Kupka only to invade his home, the mother crystal of an allied nation, and let both fall? It makes no sense.
Do you know the tale of the blind men and the Adamantus? One can often be led astray by focusing too closely on individual details. One must instead see the bigger picture. And what bigger picture is there than my map?
Oke. Dijelasin Vivian nih lagi.
The kingdom of Walud claims dominion over all of Ash. It is a nation forged by the bloody conquest of Barnabas Tharm, the dominant of Odin. The Canvarian War of Independence in 849. The Battle of the Twin Realms in 865. The Battle of Belinus Tor in 873. Wheresoever his armies fought, Odin was found where the fighting was fiercest. But of late, the warrior king appears to have laid his sword to rest. Battle rages for control of the crystalline dominion. Yet Tharm sends not a single ship in support of his Dhalmekian allies. Meanwhile, the Blight ravages great swathes of Ash. Yet warlike Walud shows not the faintest interest in laying claim to untouched lands. So why go to the trouble of sending an army of orcs into the heart of Drake's Fang, only to make no attempt to claim the mother crystal for Walud? It can hardly be for lack of men. Tharm's armies rival any in the Twins. No. We have not seen the last of the Waluda standard. Odin will ride again. It is but a question of when. And on that day, who will be trampled underfoot? In summary, I know not to what end the Royalists betrayed Kupka. I know only that it is part of some broader scheme. A scheme tied to the ambitions of one man.
King Barnabas.
King
But
Barnabas
there
ya.
is no need to wallow in confusion. If one is to cure a sickness, one must first identify the symptoms. And your Lord Uncle has volunteered to do just that by keeping an eye on the Royalists' movements.
He's really throwing himself into this.
Indeed he is. Which means all that remains for us to do is await his reports.
Kita nunggu laporan dari
Not
papanya
quite
dulu ya.
all in your case. The people of the hideaway must hear the news. Justice has been done. Hugo Kupka is dead. The wounds he left that night are still raw, especially for those who lived with Sid the longest. Tell them that those wounds might finally begin to heal. Consider it the price of today's instruction.
I've never known you to be sentimental.
What can I say? I am only human. And we are, all of us, sentimental animals at heart.
I suppose we are. Very well. I'll go and spread the word.
Ada 3. Speak with Sharon, Blackthorn, dan... Oke, kita lanjut. Kita kesini dulu.
Ah, Clive. You
Harpocrate.
come seeking the gift of knowledge?
No. To share mine, actually. Hugo Kupka is dead.
Ah,
Oh, my. Can it really be true?
Look, he's crying. He is. The big baby.
big baby.
And with good reason, children. These are tears of joy. We must offer up a prayer to your parents that the heavens might weep with us. There shall be no lessons today, only thanksgiving and merrymaking. Go, put away your things.
All right. Brilliant.
Finally, a new dawn has broken.
It has.
Thank you, Clive. I cannot wait to share the good news.
Hippocrates. After Kupka fell, Ultima came to me. I need to know what he is. Have you learned anything?
Alas,
Ada Ultima datangin dia ya setelah kematian Kupka.
and not for want of trying. I have scoured nigh every historical tome in our collection and found nothing.
Gak ada
Even the sort of
ini cuy,
conspicuous absence that might suggest a concealment of fact.
tentang Ultima itu siapa.
Almost tempted to conclude that such a creature never existed.
But I saw him with my own eyes.
I don't
Mungkin
doubt
cowok-cowoknya
it.
nanya Joshua aja ya.
Alas, it seems you are the only one who has. To others, he reveals naught. We see only that which he leaves in his wake, like some terrible force of nature beyond the ken of mortal man.
A bringer of death.
Whether the Ultima you met with was the being itself, or merely another projection of its power, I know not. But until I do, my investigations shall continue.
Thank you. It means a lot.
Gak ada informasi apa-apa tentang Ultima soalnya.
Well, someone looks pleased with himself. It's true what I'm hearing, then.
Nothing escapes you, Lady Karen. It's true. Kuka is dead.
Beritanya udah nyebar cepat ya.
No more looking over our shoulders then.
Nyantai, tambah nyantai mereka.
I'm starting to get a crick in my neck. Don't let it go to your head though.
Kita beli ini dulu lah.
And what can I do for you?
Sold out.
You'll not find a better price than that.
Udah full.
Is that all?
Apa aja. Kita ke Blackthorn.
Blackthorn, do you have a moment?
What is it? I'm busy.
I wanted to tell you that Hugo Kuka is dead.
I can't tell you how long I've been waiting to hear those
Banyak yang
words.
menginginkan Hugo Kuka mati ya.
This is
Soalnya dia kejam.
a new beginning under a new Sid.
I'll try to live up to the name.
Oke, udah ya.
Let's see if Otto has anything else for me.
Hit auto lagi.
I'm telling you, it's true. I heard it from Otto's own lips.
Hugo Kuka is dead. Udah mati semua. Banyak dengar.
You barely sat down since you came home. Vivian got you running errands or something?
Just spreading the word.
Oke. Jadi gimana nih?
So, the professor's got a soft side, has she? I'd never have guessed.
No. She was right, though. Everyone was glad to hear the news.
Ah, but you ain't told everyone. I can think of plenty of friends back at the old hideaway who'd sleep more peacefully for knowing. Not least of all Sid. You should tell him.
You're right. I should. And I will.
Oke.
When you do, be sure to take Mid with you.
Ajak
She's
Mid.
been going at it hammer and tongs down at that workshop of hers, trying to do her father proud. I can't remember the last time she visited the old sod's grave.
Very well. I'll suggest it.
Big. Wait, Mid. Lihat sini ya, Mid.
If I don't come up with something soon.
Oke, Mid.
All right, Clive? What do you want?
I'm going to visit Sid, and I thought you might like to come with me.
Visit Sid.
Sorry, I'm too busy for all that right now. I've got to get this thermal displacement stack sorted.
Aduh.
Thermal.
Displacement stack. Here.
Buat kapal.
This is for...
Only the fastest, finest ship the world has ever seen. The Enterprise.
Jih.
Me and my dad designed it together. Where other vessels rely on the fickle winds to drive them through the water, ours is fitted with mithril engines. And those things have got more push than a behemoth in a bad mood, and more heat than all the hells put together. Which is where the stack comes in. I may have already talked some tight-lipped shipwrights into putting the hull together for me in a little dockyard in Canva. But the stack's a bit more involved, so I'm building it here. Thing is, it's so involved that I'm running behind and it's starting to hold things up over at the shipyard. I'll come and see my dad, though, when I'm done. Whenever that is.
Is there anything I can do to help?
Ada tugas
I was
lagi.
hoping you'd say that. First things first,
Dia nunggu
I need some parts mecking.
supaya minta ditolongin.
The sack will be made up of 3 major components.
Anjir, oke.
There's the plating, here, that channels hot vapors away from the engine. The helm over the top, that disperses all that heat into the air. And the shielding around the sides. That stops the rest of the ship from going up in flames.
Oke.
A full suit of armor, then. Probably best to take it one piece at a time.
Then you'll need to start with the plating. Everything else fits onto it. I've got the designs and the list of materials here. Show these to Blackthorn. He'll know what to do.
Oke, kita ke Blackthorn lagi.
I can't make head nor tail of them.
Luckily, you don't need to.
Speak with Blackthorn. Blackthorn itu si tukang besi lagi ya.
I think mid might need some help.
Blackthorn, can I ask a favor?
Hell with it.
It's for Mid.
This my last chance to say I'm otherwise engaged. Spare myself the arseache. Go on then. What is it this time?
She said you would know. Here.
Bahkan Clive pun nggak tahu disuruh buat apa.
Krieger's Tates. Well, I don't know what the hell you'd want this for, but I can make it. Won't be easy though.
Oke, nggak akan mudah sih katanya. Wah, dia butuh bantuan.
Right.
Cari bahannya dulu nih kayaknya.
So Mid's roped us all in here again, has she? Typical.
Typical.
If that's what it takes to get her to visit Sid's grave, I'll do what I can.
And, what is it we need to do, exactly?
Untuk
Take a look at this.
buat kapal buat ke kuburannya Sid ya.
Plating. The usual saw grade still
Jauh
won't
berarti.
work. We need something that can get very hot, very fast, and still keep its shape.
Oke.
That means an alloy. Something that won't break or buckle at the temperatures she's talking about. Which is where you lot come in. I need materials, and I've got my work cut out already. You'll have to fetch them. Now, there's a special kind of sand I'm after that you can only find out in the Velcroy. Stardust, they call it.
Di Valkro ya.
For the rest of the stuff, my usual supply should have it in stock.
Bahan-bahannya itu.
Just needs buying and bringing back here.
Well, we'll get it done quicker if we split up. One of us should probably give you an hand collecting the sand.
And the other can go and get the rest from this supplier.
Right then.
Well, make your minds up who's going where, and we can get this over with.
Oke.
You going after the Stardust then, are you? Which one of these 2 lucky souls is going with you?
Gav aja lah.
Gav, you're with me.
All right, then. So, where do we find this Stardust stuff?
There's a river that runs through the southern reaches of the Velcroy. It's the black sand that washes up on its banks that you're after.
Southern reaches of the Velcroy, eh? That's down past Alamil. I'll go and scout the place out. See about hiring us a wagon to bring the stuff back to.
Oke.
I'll meet you by the river.
While you're off having a paddle, I'll pick up the rest of the stuff from Blackthorn's supplier. Take care.
You two, eh? Don't go letting them fleece ya.
Fleece me? I'd like to see him try.
In your own time.
Oke, kita make the river. Coba kita lihat map dulu ya. Kita langsung ke sini aja. Daily Mill. In Dalmatian Republic. Ini tempat yang kita pertama itu. Yang bersama pamannya ke sini ya.
Looks like I found the river. Where's Gav?
Gapnya udah di sini.
Sorry to keep you, Gav.
Better late than never.
Never.
Scout about, and I reckon round here's our best bet if we want to grab as much of this Stardust stuff as we can. Don't know what Blackthorn's planning to do with it, though. I asked over in Dalamil, and they seem to think it was worthless. But if Stardust is what Blackthorn wants, Stardust is what he'll get. There's plenty of this stuff lying about, just begging to be bagged.
Then let's get bagging, shall we?
Okay.
We shall. Race ya.
Stardust.
So this is Stardust. It just looks like black sand to me.
Dua. Tiga lagi ya. Tiga, dua lagi cuy. Apa di atas sini? Bilang sekitaran sungai cuy. Oh, di sini, di sini. Kita lihat tadi. Satu lagi, satu lagi. Nggak ada muncul ya. Harus nearby. Okay.
That should be enough for now. Let's see how Gav's getting on.
Kenapa nih si Gav?
You finished? How much did you get?
Enough. I hope.
Oh, you win.
Dia nggak dapat apa-apa.
That might even be enough for old Blackthorn. Hey, before we go, do you mind if we have a chat?
Apa sih cuy? Dia nanyain apa?
Feels like ages since we had the chance to talk. You know, man to man like.
Man like.
Doesn't it?
Back when you first took Sid's name, we were talking all the time. Working out what to do in that.
There was a lot to work out.
And there still is. Those shoulders of yours starting to feel the strain. Hardly ever see you around the hideaway nowadays. Always on some errand or other. You can take a day off, you know.
Says the man who spends most of his time behind enemy lines.
Only 'cause you keep sending me there.
I know I can count on you, Gav.
Likewise. So you keep sending me wherever you need to, and I'll keep going. Safe in the knowledge that I have a home to come back to. Thanks to you.
Oke. Rencana apa ini? Kayak nggak penting.
Right. That's enough soppy shite for one day. We'd better get this lot back to Blackthorn before he slings his hammer at someone.
You go on ahead. And try to get some rest once you're there.
Oh, I plan to. Believe you me. After Blackthorn gets what he needs, of course.
Right. Ready to go home, boy?
Kita speak to Blackthorn. Kita pakai map. Kita balik ke highway ya.
Let's hope this is all Blackthorn needs.
Oke, kita lihat.
Got everything you need.
Yeah. Yeah, I do. Cheers for the stardust. Should be enough to be getting on with.
We should go out on maneuvers together more often. You know, it beats sneaking around on your Todd all the time.
I'll make a start on putting this thermal plating together then. It'll take some time, mind. So if you've got other things to be getting on with, I could do without you breathing down my neck.
Thank you, Blackthorn. I'll let Mid know construction's underway.
Quest complete. Kita ke mid lagi kayaknya.
Suppose we'd better be getting back to work too.
Give us a shout if you need anything.
Oke. Report to mid.
Mid might need some help.
Bang, bang, bang.
If I don't come up with something soon.
Apalagi.
Pleased to hear that Blackthorn started work on the plating.
Excellent. One down, two to go.
Di, masih ada 2 lagi.
What's next?
The helm, of course. For this, we'll be repurposing fallen scrap.
Salvage from the ruins? I thought that material was all but impossible to work.
Ah, but we don't have to.
I'm sorry.
Just so happens there's one particular ruin that's broken into exactly the right shape and size pieces for what we need. What's the name back there? I'll give you all the details.
What's her name? Right.
Oke.
Oh, Sid, is this about the helm?
Yes.
Yes. Mid said I should speak with you.
I'll show you the plans then. Here you see the mithril engine, in which mithril is burned to generate heat. That heat is then harnessed to produce motive force. Excess heat is dealt with by means of the thermal displacement stack, which disperses it into the surrounding air. Now, Were we to rely on thermal plating alone to achieve this effect, the rate of excess heat buildup would far exceed the displacement coefficient of the plating. In other words, the reactor would overheat and eventually explode. This is where the helm comes in. It connects to the plating, you see, and serves as a sort of thermal sink to absorb all that excess energy. Our experiments have shown that fallen ceramics are remarkably thermophilic. They can withstand and absorb levels of heat far above anything we are able to make today. And not only that, they're also waterproof and immune to rust, making them the perfect material for our protective hood. Why, if sea or rainwater were to enter the reactor proper, it would vaporize instantly. The forces produced would tear the ship from stern to...
You can stop there. I understand.
Dia nggak ngerti,
Mid
Clive.
said we might be able to use parts of a fallen ruin. Where would I find it?
Yeah.
Ah, yes. It's in Lorbert's Pass, near Lostwing.
Dih.
The thing is, well, I probably should have arranged to have the pieces we need brought here sooner. You see, a certain unwanted visitor has taken up residence there. It's no longer a matter of just walking in and taking them. It's, going to be considerably more dangerous than that.
I see. Then I suppose I'd better deal with this unwanted visitor for you. Would that help?
Oh, very much. Thank you, Sid. I'll gather my team and head there right away. We'll meet you outside the ruins.
Oke. Kita pindah pulau lagi nih. Jauhnya. Lost Wing.
Good day to you.
Tempat lamanya Sid ya di sini ya. Itu bukankah?
But what about the curse?
Ih, nggak bisa lewat sini cuy. Lewat mana ya? Oh, tempat awal-awal nih. Salah cuy, harus naik dulu nih. Kita muter. Siapa ini? Ini banyak monster di sini. Teng 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 teng. The nearby. Oh, di sini rupanya. Helena, engineer.
Oh, there you are, Sid. Thanks so much for coming. The, ruins are just over there, as is the creature I told you about, I'd imagine. Would you mind?
Oh, ada monster di sana.
I'll be right back.
Serang monsternya dulu kalau gitu. Oke.
Anybody home?
Torgal.
This must be our unwanted visitor. Time to go.
Langsung aja cuy. Aduh, kena cuk. Nyawa habis juga ngelawan gini.
The things I do for you, Mid.
Sid! Oh, thank goodness you're safe.
You shouldn't have any trouble now.
Indeed. Well, don't let us keep you. We'll, see that everything is transported safely back to the hideaway.
All right. I'll let Mid know you're on your way.
Oke. Masih ada satu lagi ya? Coba balik ke hideaway lagi. Teng teng teng.
Mid might need some help.
If I don't come up with something soon.
Mid. Helena has recovered materials
okay.
from the helm. She'll be along shortly.
Excellent. Another job well done.
And just one remaining.
Yes.
Right, the shielding. This one's a bit of a bugger.
Bugger?
So,
Apa sih?
Plating's enough to stop the engines going pop, but those things will still be spitting out enough fire to set the rest of the ship ablaze. Which is why you need proper shielding. A prism for the dragon's breath that's blazing away inside. I thought a triple thick layer of tempered steel might do it. Or more of the stuff that the Fallen use, but they'd both be too heavy. The helm and the plating are bulky enough as it is. Add any more weight and the whole ship would be at the bottom of the briny.
Aksen apa nih? English kah ini?
I need something light. But I've racked my brains and I just can't think what would do it.
well, if I were in need of obscure knowledge, I know whose counsel I would seek. Harpocrates.
Harpocrates.
Yeah, well, I'd thought of that, obviously. I've got all the details written down here. Can you take this to him? See what he makes of it?
Dih, apalagi?
Right away.
Right away. kita ke ini ya, thermal sliding design. Ini duduk di sini terus ini. Gak ngapa-ngapain.
Hippocrates, do you have a moment?
For you, Clive, always.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's for mid this time. Could you take a look at this?
Shielding for a mithril engine. Whatever will that girl think of next? And what are these notes around the edges?
She has some specific requirements for the materials. The shielding needs to be able to resist extreme heat on the inside, and yet remain cool enough on the outside not to set the ship alight, while also being light enough not to sink it. As you can imagine, she's struggling to find anything that meets her needs.
Dia mau tuh sesuatu yang bisa menahan panas ya, tapi nggak cukup berat cuy,
Or if you might be able to search the records for one.
supaya kapalnya tetap mengambang.
Perhaps it is not a different material she requires, but a different approach.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Consider the lake we have made our home. Its blighted waters eat away far more quickly than fresh water or even brine, at timber and steel alike. And yet, we have made a home here from those very materials nonetheless.
We have. But Bardolph must varnish every board twice over to keep it from rotting. And Obelus complains that without a constant supply of pitch. I see.
Early Gregorian histories speak of a preparation known as moon dew. It is said to be able to resist even the most ferocious flames. Before the dragoons tamed the worms and wyverns of the realm, nobles would daub their castle walls with it in order to guard against dragon fire.
So if we could recreate it...
It might be applied to some material or other in order to provide the protection it requires. As to how best to apply it and to what material, perhaps Bardolph and Obelus might be of assistance.
Oke, Bardolph dan Obelus. Di mana nih kita yang ngomong?
Be so kind as to procure the necessary ingredients. I shall discuss the specifics of how it might be most effectively put to use with our two friends. The knowledge of the past may yet prove useful to we of the modern era.
Thank you, Hippocrates. And since you're asking others to help you, perhaps I should too.
Oke. Panjang nih pembicaraannya.
So you need a hand, do you?
We do. I'll be heading to market for the ingredients we need. I could do with some help. And some company too.
The other can assist me in researching how best to prepare the shielding itself.
Can we count on your aid?
Always. Well, if Jill's game.
Thank you.
I am sure either of these fine young minds would prove indispensable in my research. I leave the decision as to who will go with whom in your capable hands, Clive.
Oke.
So, Clive, have you made your decision?
Coba kita ajak Tarya dulu ya.
Little excursion.
All right. So, what are we fetching?
I have taken the liberty of preparing.
Kita belum pernah soalnya ajak Tarja.
Garlic. Conch shells. Are you sure this is the right list?
Looks like the ingredients for someone's supper.
Though these items may seem mundane, they have potent effects that are rarely exploited, effects for which they were once highly prized. So much so, in fact, that they were harvested almost to extinction, hence moon dews having fallen from favor. Now, of course, they can be obtained with ease. You should be able to find everything you need at the market in Northreach.
Well, isn't that convenient?
Oke.
I was hoping to be able to make a trip over that way sometime soon. Need to speak to an old acquaintance. I'll meet you there.
Oke.
Right. Stay safe.
See you later, Clive.
Good luck with your research.
Good luck with your research. Kita langsung aja. Pindah map lagi cuy. Tambah jauh aja. Ke sini, kita ke Northreach. Mid ini memang aduh. Banyak maunya dia.
Now, where's Taya?
There's talk that the glass gate.
Loh, Taryanya ke sana.
Keep them pilgers nice and chill.
Need to stock up on these.
Have you spoiling it.
There you are, Taya.
Ah, and there you are. We shouldn't have any problems finding what we need in a place like this. But if time is of the essence, perhaps we should split up. Take a few items
Split up
each.
lagi cuy.
All right. What shall I look for?
Let's see now. Why don't you take the garlic and the pepio nuts?
Garlic ya.
Meet me by the gate when you've got them.
Cari bawang. Emang aneh banget ini.
What do you want? And?
Ya itu aja sih.
And who's gonna carry it? Not me.
Teng, teng.
Any
Oke.
friend of the innkeeper is a friend of mine. Keep fighting the good
should do
fight.
Hopefully Taya's finished too.
Fresh cuts. Come and get them. Up. You'll not find a bruised.
Oke, Tarya. Udah.
Well, did you find everything?
I did. Here.
Garlic and pepio nuts. Job done.
Kacang
We should get this
pepio.
back to Tomes then. He'll be waiting. But we're not in too much of a rush, are we? Quick chat.
Oke.
Do you know, I think this is the very first time we've been out on an errand together.
I think you might be right.
In all the years since you and that scowl of yours first appeared, you haven't invited me out once. For shame.
Well, it seemed long overdue. And you did say you had some shopping to do.
I was hoping to restock my supplies of herbs and liniment, yes. You and Jill alone burned through them like wildfire. No luck, though. My usual supplier's not here, and I refuse to pay the prices these gougers charge.
I'll ask Karen when we get back. What is it?
Oh, just memories.
Cuma
I came here
ingatan.
with Sid once. Shopping for
Oke.
supplies, just like today. And just like today, I came away empty-handed. Sid even said he'd speak to Karen for me when we got back. Has it really been 5 years? I remember it as if it was yesterday. Hold on. Does that mean it's been 5 years since we met?
Udah 5 tahun.
It does. In a good way, of course. Thank you, Taya,
For what?
for everything. I just want you to know that all you've done for us, Or you still do. It's appreciated.
Do you think I'd stick around if I thought it wasn't? But in the spirit of sharing and caring, you're appreciated too, by all of us.
Oke. Oke, kita balik.
Well, I think we've tarried long enough. I ought to get these ingredients back to Tome so he can make up this concoction of his. I'll meet you back at the hideaway, all right?
All right. And thanks again.
I heard you the first time.
Kenapa nggak bareng-bareng aja pulangnya ya?
I wonder how Hippocrates is getting on with the moon dew.
Moon dew. Udah nunggu aja di sana.
How's work on the shielding progressing, Hippocrates?
Well, very well indeed. And thanks in no small part to your kind assistance. I was just explaining to Tarja how we might best go about preparing the moon dew. And now that we have all the ingredients, we may begin.
You can count on me. I've mixed more than a few mysterious concoctions in my time.
I'm sure you have. What about the shielding itself?
Work is underway, under the watchful eyes of Bardolph and Obolus.
Apparently, it'll be ready soon.
Thank you. All of you.
Right then. Jill, would you join me in the infirmary? Many hands make light work and all that.
Of course.
Oke.
Oh, and Clive. It was good to talk. We should do it again sometime.
It appears our work here is almost at an end. A shame. I was enjoying playing the man of action for once. Both the shielding and the moon dew are ready. It will merely be a matter of applying the one to the other. Followed by a rigorous process of testing and retesting, of course. Perhaps someone ought to warn young Mid of that.
Leave it to me.
Leave it to me.
Hippocrates.
Selesai kah? Quest complete, anjir. Gak ngapa-ngapain, disuruh kesana kemari aja.
Well, I better go and give Mid the good
Kita
news.
commit lagi. Apalagi kurangnya? Atau kapalnya udah jadi kah? Ini orang kenapa ya di sini?
I think Mid might need some help.
Sorry to keep you waiting, Mid. But you'll be pleased to know that work on the shielding is underway.
You've
Udah beres?
asked me for it.
In a manner of speaking, Hippocrates knew of a substance that's highly resistant to heat, a coating that should provide the protection you need. He's supervising the construction and testing of the shielding as we speak.
Brilliant. I knew you wouldn't let me down.
Oke.
Thank me. I'm just the errand boy.
Right then, better start working out how to bolt all these bits together. To the Black Hammer.
To the Black Hammer.
You know, when I got into the smithing game, I thought I'd be making swords and shields, not thermal bleeding didgeridoo-dahs.
Displacement stacks.
Same difference. Whatever you call it, I ain't putting it together in here. It's cramped enough as it is. Let's take this outside. Mid, you get all the parts lined up on the deck. I'll take care of the rest.
On my way.
Okay.
Bring me the biggest hammer you can find. This is going to require some precision walloping.
Akhirnya kapalnya jadi kah? Sometime later, beberapa waktu kemudian. Mana nih? Dia buat apa sih anjir? Oh.
It's finished. It's finally finished.
Thank fuck for that. I'll be feeling my hammer arm for weeks.
Thank you, Clive, Blackthorn, everyone. That's one down and just 3 more to go.
Dih.
I'm sorry.
Oh, didn't I tell you?
Lagi 3 lagi, Cuk.
4 mithril engines, and we'll be needing a displacement stack for each.
You don't mean...
Don't worry. Now they've got a finished one to work off. My gang in Canva can build the rest.
Kirain masih nyari lagi 3.
Right, I'm off to get a sling for this elbow. Any other work comes in,
Kampret. Banyak maunya. Masih ada 3 mesin lagi. Aduh.
What's the matter?
Nothing. Just daydreaming. Thinking about the Enterprise sailing off over the horizon to shores unknown. Searching for a land untouched by the Blight. Just like me and my dad planned. So if the worst came to the worst and every scrap of soil in the Twins turned black, we might still have a chance. That's what she was meant to be. You see, one last chance just in case we needed it. But now she's so close to being finished, I've realized I don't want her to be that. I don't want her to be just a lifeboat for us to cling to if things get desperate. I want people to sail aboard her by choice, not from the lack of it. In a way where we're not just trying to survive, but where we can actually live.
I'm working on that. And I'll do everything I can to get you what you want.
Don't you always? All right. My mind's made up. As soon as the Enterprise is fit to sail, I'm putting her under your command. Our plans, I'm trusting in yours.
Are you sure about this?
Something tells me it's what my dad would have wanted.
He'd be proud of you.
Okay.
You were gonna visit his grave, weren't you?
I was. And you can come too now that your little project is finished.
Right. There's just one thing I need to finish up first. Won't be a mo.
All right. I'll let Otto know you're coming. Meet us in the mess when you're ready.
Oke.
Aye, Captain.
Kita akan berlayar nih kalau sudah jadi mesinnya ya. Masih 3 mesin lagi dia buat sama. Bentuknya aneh sih. Kita ke Otto dulu.
Mid told me she was building a ship.
All right, Clive. Asterix. Mid finished sending half the hideaway traipsing across the Twins, has she? I swear, that girl'd do anything to put off visiting her old dad's grave. No excuses.
Oh, Otto ini bukan bapaknya ya?
Not quite. She said there was one
Udah
final thing
mati.
she had to take care of. I'm sure she'll be finished soon enough.
She said that? In those words?
She did, yes.
Clive? Were you born yesterday or something? There is no thing. Should probably be halfway to Canva by now.
Mid. I might still be able to catch her.
Aduh, Mid. Make for the foredeck.
Is that the thing Tomes helped?
Obelith, have you seen Mid?
Yep. In a boat, going that way.
Then I'm too late.
Nyantai dong.
You in a hurry and all, are you? Oh, I offered to take her across, but she wouldn't wait. Just paid for a dinghy and rowed off. Oars going like the clappers. Got some life in her, ain't she? But anyway, I was on my way up to see you, as it happens. Got a letter for you. Urgent, by the sound of it. One of your uncle's men said I was to hand it to you in person, post-bleeding haste. And you're here now.
Thank you, Obelith.
Obelush. Ih, bacotnya panjang banget anjir. My journey to Confer has been success. The friend I mentored not only agreed to share the content is okay. Oke.
Trouble in Canva.
Ada masalah di kantor.
I'll need someone to keep an eye on Mid.
Kita butuh Gav mungkin. Gav dibawa sama pamannya.
So what? Mid got us to do all the dirty work and then just sailed off into the sunset?
It seems that way.
Well, nothing we can do about it now. But next time you plan on visiting Sid, you might want to tie her to something before you suggest it.
Don't be so hard on her. Got to admit, the dirty work was kind of fun. Everyone pitching in, all that bollocks. Just like when we built this place.
You're right.
Anyway, we all set to head to the old hideaway. I could do with getting to Canva pretty sharpish. Wouldn't do to keep Lord Rosfield of the Seven High Houses waiting now, would it? Not after he asked for me personally.
Gav will be leaving with me. Will you mind the place while we're gone?
You can count on me.
Okay.
Just be sure to give Sid and the others my regards. All right.
Oh, by the way, Jill will be joining us too.
Jadi kita bertiga sama Jill ya?
Take care of, but she'll meet us there.
I hope she's telling the truth at least.
Ting ting ting. Kita menuju ke sini. Sid's Legacy. Old Hideaway. Tempat persembunyian yang lama ya. Ini udah dihancurin nih dulu.
Well, Sid, I remember what you told me. But if no one is listening to what you have to say, you may as well not say it. But I will say this, old friend. Hugo Kuka is gone. His shadow looms over us no longer.
Ini gara-gara Hugo Kupka nih hancur di sini hideaway-nya.
It's a pity the Phoenix can't be in two places at once. If he'd have been with us, maybe he could have done something for the lost.
Not even the Phoenix can bring people back from the dead. Life has a beginning and an end. So we must live while we have the chance. And not as slaves to the crystals, but as free men.
May we join you?
Wih, ini nih geng-geng dulunya ya.
Lady Karen, what a pleasant surprise.
I thought I'd drop by and see how you were all doing before heading off to restock my supplies. It wasn't the most scenic view back then, but it were never as bad as this.
I know. The blight marches on. And soon, there will be no escaping sights like these. So our mission remains unchanged. We cannot stop until every mother crystal is gone, and their thirst for ether with them. The only one that remains in Storm is Drake's tail in the crystalline dominion.
Okay.
Our next target.
We're going to Twinside.
It's the capital of the Empire these days.
Tinggal satu kah?
I wouldn't like to think how tightly guarded they've got the place. Not that that'll stop you, but we do well to scout it out before you go charging in.
We would indeed.
If you're off to the Dominion, you can take this great lump with you.
Goods.
Oh, I am sorry. Have you forgotten you're the most wanted man in the Twins? I thought you might like to disguise yourselves as the attendants of a travelling trader, assuming you've no better ideas.
Nyamar jadi traveling ini
You
ya.
wanted to buy yourself
Trader.
some tools, didn't you? Well, now's your chance.
You're letting me go with them.
Ih, bodohnya gede banget.
Nan.
Stop that! You'll break me bones, you great galoot. There's a caravan that runs back and forth between the Dominion and the Bocklad markets. It's managed by the Merchants Guild. Just show them Goots' traders pass and you'll be on your way.
Oke.
It'll be a damn sight
Kok
less
seneng banget dia.
footing it the length of the Crystal Road. That's for sure.
Thank you, Karen. And glad to have you with us, Goots.
Okay then. I'll get me things and I'll meet yous there. See yous down in Bocklad.
Get off! Me poor fingers!
Jill, you're with me.
Understood.
And Gav.
Already on my way, Captain.
Oke.
Be careful.
Aren't I always?
Bisa jalan semua cuy. Oke.
Do you see that, Sid? Your protégé's making a proper little outlaw of himself.
Sid's Legacy nih. Sekarang kita menuju kemana? Coba kita lihat dulu ya. Kristalnya tinggal ini. Ini kan tempatnya Barnabas nih ya. Sekarang kita kan mau ngancur yang ini deh. Duh, ada jurang di sini. Gak ada lagi cuy, tuh. Tinggal 2. Oke, kita kesini ya. Tinggal 2 kristal lagi. Terakhir sepertinya di Barnabas itu. Eastern Dalmatia. Onward. Well,
how are you feeling?
Better. Thanks to Taya.
I'm glad to hear it.
Oke, make for Boklat. 500 yard dong.
This used to be a trade route for merchants crossing the Scars, till the Republic laid a new road wide enough to let wagons pass. And all official traffic moved there.
Okay.
This one for those living outside the law.
Indeed. I doubt we'll be the only outlaws on the trail today.
Jauh juga nih. Beneran nggak ada penjahat di jalan. Banyak monster cuy.
So what do you think?
Ini kota sembunyi banget daerah sini.
How nice. They have a hideaway of their own. And if you ever... Ajar. Not stagger. Nyawa kita tinggal setengah anjir. Non permen ginian.
We've done the Republic a service.
Poisonnya lagi 2. Ntar ya. Kan sini nggak ada apa-apa. Nggak ada apa-apa.
I see the Dalmex lag behind Rosaria when it comes to bridge building.
The fallen ruin should hold at least. The path continues on the other side.
Ini ngejar kita kah? Bangke tuh monster. Orang nggak mau bertarung kok dipaksa. Di air terjunnya dong. The final scene.
So this is Zemeckis.
Belum pernah kesini ya?
The land of the gods.
Tanah
It's
para
even more
dewa.
impressive than I imagined. I remember being captivated by the story as a child.
Long, long ago, man was overcome by avarice and challenged the gods in a bid to win their power. The final battle took place here, at these falls.
Di, makanya mungkin jadi bolong gini ya.
If anyone ever manages to plumb those depths, perhaps we'll learn if there's any truth to the tale.
That the gods emerged victorious and punished man for his defiance by visiting upon him 2 curses.
Dominance and bearers.
Dominant and bearers.
To tell the truth,
Ah.
I always thought it strange that the dominant and their icons were deemed a curse. Back home, the dominant inherited the throne. They were admired and exalted, not spurned. Whenever I got to that part of the story, I always assumed there must be something I'd misunderstood.
Okay.
You had a lot of storybooks, didn't you? In your room, I mean. When we were young.
The old legends were always my favorites. Epic battles between gods and men. Father encouraged me to read as much as I could. He thought it good for my education.
You really were a boy like any other, weren't you?
Just look at this place. It's enough to make you believe the legends are true.
I know.
We're not far from Boklad. The road will be busier up ahead.
Then we'll have to keep our wits about us.
Let's go. Kira kita sampai juga ya.
Clive? Something wrong?
Nothing. It's nothing.
It's nothing. Ih, kotanya, Cuk. Luar biasa. State of the Imperial Court.
I see the reports are true, Father. You have surrendered the throne to Olivier.
I have. Emperor Olivier shall rebuild the Holy Empire of Sambrek.
How is he to rule an empire? He is but a boy.
I shall advise him until he comes of age.
Father, please.
Or for as long as I am able. The empire we seek to build needs young blood to rule it. And I can think of none better suited to the task.
Ini Oliver diam-diam terus nih.
There is other news, Dion. Hugo Kupka is dead, and Drake's Fang destroyed. The pillars of the Republic have fallen. Ere long, the Imperial banner shall fly over every city in Storm. And then Valisthea. All shall bow before their emperor.
Father, these are the words of a tyrant.
They are the words of a god. The emperor whom I gladly serve. Great Grieger, made flesh. Return to your camp, Dion, and ready your forces.
Ini kenapa sih bapaknya ya?
It is time to show the world the true power of Sanbreque.
Father. I find you much changed.
Oh, bapaknya katanya banyak berubah.
The path you wish to tread? Or are these the ambitions of another? Of Ultima, perhaps?
What nonsense is this? I speak my mind, and my mind only. Though I do owe Annabella thanks for reminding me of certain truths regarding the nature of nations, of rulers, and of the divine.
You trust the words of this traitress? She betrayed her country. She slew her husband.
You have ever been an invaluable servant to Sanbreque, Prince Dion. I trust you will continue to serve
Oh, bukan ibunya ini ya.
to come.
Canker!
Dion.
Silence! Insolent wretch!
Ibu tirinya nih Dion, cuy.
You will bend the knee. All else is heresy.
Sire, forgive me.
This audience is over. Come, your radiance. The Rowena Syndicate awaits your pleasure.
Oh, not another meeting with silly old men. They're so boring. I'm hungry, Father. Can't we have luncheon instead?
Kampret banget Saliver. Bunganya dibuang aja.
Does it pain you that you will not inherit your father's throne?
I have suffered worse.
Count your blessings, Dion. For a base-born child to be chosen by Bahamut is miracle enough. You have risen high on his wings, but you shall rise no higher, lest your impure blood stain the throne.
What do you know of my blood?
Oke. Loh, di sana malam, di sini masih siang, cuy. Kirain udah sampai. Masih 400 yard lagi.
We just need to hug the coast.
Oke.
Infiltrating the Dominion won't be easy with the Imperials on high alert.
No. His Radiance has lost one capital already. We can be sure Sylvester will do everything in his power to hold on to Twinside.
Bisa local map nggak? Nggak bisa. Kita jalan kaki aja tetap.
But it's not as if we can wait for the siege to end.
Hewannya cepet banget. Hindarin aja nih hewan.
More refugees.
And they're all making for the crystalline Dominion.
Kok jalannya ke atas ya?
Don't know how to live without the crystal's blessing.
Banyak monster ya. Masyarakatnya santai aja di sini.
This is where we're supposed to meet Goots, isn't it?
That's right. He said he'd wait for us here after replenishing his supplies. I dare say he'll have finished by now.
Let me carry your goods. I'm cheap.
And nasty.
Peaches and pears.
Oke, sampai di pasar kita ini, cuy. Booklet market.
Wonders from across the water. Come one, come all. Feast your eyes. Good sir, can I interest you in...
How much? For a measly crust of bread?
You won't find any cheaper. Not nowadays. But you're more than welcome to look.
Duh, mana sih? Rotinya mau dibeli kok nggak jawab. Nggak akan dapat yang lebih murah.
The Empire's unlawful and illegitimate occupation of the crystalline dominion is still in effect. Only those whose business in Twinside has been officially approved by the Republican Army will be permitted to cross the border. All who seek entry are to form a line and ready their documents for inspection.
It looks like we aren't the only ones who are eager to leave.
And they're checking everyone.
Can't you make an exception for the likes?
Kenapa nggak pakai begini aja yang biasa, Cok?
That pass. Let's go and find good, shall we?
Harus pakai goods dulu nih baru bisa nyebrang kita.
He must be around here somewhere.
Find goods ya. Oke, tidak guys, untuk part berapa ya? 13. Nanti kita lanjut lagi. See you next video.